Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to use Lazy Chunks to store XP. I'm also going to show you the storage system that I built for it. I've been working on this design for what feels like about 2 years, so I finally finished it and got it done with so I can show you guys. Before I show you the design though, I'm going to explain some behaviors of XP in lazy and unloaded chunks. Alright, before I get into that, I'm going to explain the chunk loading a little bit and how we're going to utilize it. Most of you probably know this already, but I figure it's good to go over it anyway. So on the left side, we have the gold chunk, and that's going to be the chunk that the player is standing in. And then the rest of the marked chunks are loaded chunks. Now the two on the end are lazy chunks, and those are the ones that don't process entities. So those are going to be the ones that we're going to use for XP storage. The black line that you can see between the last entity processing chunk and the first lazy chunk, that's going to be right about where we want to store our XP. So the idea is we're going to send our XP to that location, and then when we want to send it back, we can't just push it back with a piston or anything because that chunk isn't loading that entity. So what we got to do is step into the next chunk. When we do that, that lazy chunk becomes entity processing, and then we can send the XP back. Now, right when we get it out of that chunk, we want it to be unloaded again. Or not unloaded, I'm sorry. We want it to become a lazy chunk again. So we want to step back into this chunk. That's pretty much the whole concept of it. We don't want the rest of the XP to unload, so we want to do that as fast as possible. Now, the entity processing and loading is a little bit tricky, and I haven't looked in the code or anything, but I've found that, well, I'll just show you. Give me a second. Okay, so I've gone ahead and labeled and numbered some chunks. Chunk 0 is going to be the player chunk, the one we're standing in, and then chunk 9 is going to be the first lazy chunk. So this is all for a render distance of 10. I should have mentioned that earlier, but better late than never. And so in chunk 9, I've got a redstone clock and a entity clock that we're going to run. So we're going to get messages for when they're loaded, and they both are going to be loaded until we get back to that player chunk. So we're back, and now the entities are going to stop loading. Now the entities should load as soon as we go into this chunk, but you can see it doesn't. And we can try again, but it won't work. And what I've found, like I said, I haven't gone into the code or anything, but what I found consistently was as soon as you go 8 meters into the chunk, it will load. And then to unload it, you need to go all the way back. So I've found this to be pretty consistent. I don't know if anyone else knows how this properly works, but this is what I've used in my farm, so yeah. And then the same thing works for redstone too. So if I go back this chunk, redstone's going to stop loading, and then it won't load when I step into this chunk, but I need to go halfway through, which I didn't mark this side. Yeah. So, alright, now I'm going to show you how I use this for the XP farm. Or XP storage, I should say. Okay, so I've got some examples of how we're going to be transporting the XP. This first one, we're just going to be sending it down and seeing how it acts. And then the second one, we'll also return it. So on the first one, over here, I've got a command block. And this will just say reached end. So this command block is going to be in the first lazy chunk. So in theory, the XP is going to sit right here until we load it. And then we'll see what happens. So I'll run to the end. And on the end, I just have a command block that's going to summon some XP. And then we're going to send it with a slime block. So here we go. Okay. Now I'll give it a second for it to reach the end. But we're not going to get that message, so I'm gonna have to eyeball it kind of. Okay, that should have been long enough. And now if we step into this chunk, like I said before, nothing's gonna happen until we go 8 blocks through, and then it should continue on in that chunk. So we can't really see over there, so I'm gonna jump into the replay mod and explain how that works a little bit. Alright, so I'm here in the replay mod, and we're gonna watch the XP and how it acts. So it's gonna come to this chunk right here. Oh, too fast. Here it comes, and it's gonna sit right there. Perfect. I'm gonna pause for a second. So when I walk into the next chunk and load this, it will actually keep its momentum. So if we watch, it'll actually keep its momentum and keep going to the end. So that's good to know for when you're making the system. Alright, we looked at how the XP works, sending it one way. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're just going to send it back. So this is the same system. I've got the same XP system over there. But over here, I've got just a double piston extender. This will push the XP to here, and then that'll push it back. And I've got... Man, this water's loud, I'm sorry. Okay, it's a little bit better, maybe not. Right here, we've got a command block that says XP returning. So we'll know the XP is coming back. And over here, we've got one that just says XP collected. So we know it reached the end. Alright, so I'm going to go to the end, summon some, and send it down. That's going to go, and that command block was not in the lazy chunk, so we're going to get a message so we know it's there. There we go. Alright, so if we come down here, this side should work, but this side will not work because stepping this far into the chunk will not load the XP. So I'll show you. If I do that, the XP returning will not, command block on this side won't trigger. But if I go into this one, it will trigger. So now we just wait for the XP to come back here. Jesus, this water's loud, I'm so sorry. So it should come. There we go. Perfect. Now I'll jump into the replay mod to show you that also. Alright, so we're back in the replay mod. And I'm going to be summoning some XP and sending it. So let's follow that. If I can get the perfect speed. Nope. No in between. Alright, so we'll just go to the end. Watch what happens. Alright, so the XP is right on the edge right there in front of me. It looks like it's spreading out, but that's actually just visual. So move up so the water's not as loud. So the first time we hit these pistons, it doesn't actually fire the XP back, and that's because we didn't load it properly. But if we load it properly, which I'm about to do down there, if you can see me, if we load it properly, the piston will push all of it this way, and then it all gets sent back. So that's how that works, and basically that's the whole concept of storing the XP. Now just doing it in a compact and easy way is really what we want next. So next thing is I think the main storage system, so I'll jump out of this mod and I'll show you that. Alright, so we're here at the XP storage system. This is where you watched my last video where I was standing. and down here is the storage system that I made. Alright, so this seems pretty complicated. It kinda is, but most of this redstone is actually just to detect when one block is, or one cell is full, and then the next one should fill up. So if I throw in an item, we'll act like this is XP. We can watch what happens. It'll go through to the first cell, and then the water will go to the second cell. So these command blocks are just, again, for messages, so nothing wrong there. And then this redstone on top, when we send the signal now, it will only go to this first cell, even if the second one's full. So let's see if I could send another one. So this will fill up the second cell. And then, so these two are both full. Now if we send this redstone signal, you can see it only goes to this one. And then this one's still full. So that's how that works. This is probably going to come back, an item through here soon. Or maybe I already passed, I don't know. But I'll show you how to use it from that side. So let's head back that way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill up the storage a little bit. Right now I have 16 cells. You can expand that to be pretty large, but figure 16 is good enough to prove the point. So if I send some XP down, wait maybe a second or two, like keep filling up. And this kind of shows you just how long it'll take for the XP to get to the end. So the first cell hasn't even been filled yet. There's cell 1, and now we should get, I think we just did 5, maybe 4. Alright, so now that all the cells are loaded, we want to send some back. And to do so, we got this tunnel. Remember from before, we need to go at least 8 blocks into the chunk. And we want to get back to this spot as fast as possible so that the rest of the XP doesn't despawn. So what I've done is put a slime block launcher at the end and some ice here, so we get sent back pretty quick, and I'll go ahead and show you. Alright, so cell 1 is going to be returning, and you can't really see it, but I figured it takes around 15 to 20 seconds for it to come back. So we'll wait for that. Alright. So there's our XP. And I'll do one more, and then I'll show you guys how it works in the replay mode, like I said. Alright, so we're back. And in a second, I'm going to send down some XP. And we're going to watch how the cells fill up on this end. So this is right on the edge of the first lazy chunk. So we'll get a good idea of how they behave over here, even though we pretty much already know. But let's watch anyway. Okay, here they come finally. So they'll trigger this side, and then they'll sit right here. Which is weird. You would expect them to drop, but once they go into this chunk, they're unloaded, so they unload right there. Now I think I load or fill a bunch of cells, so we'll watch how the rest of them fill. So the redstone underneath this is actually getting triggered, and it will trigger the water to go to the next cell. This also sets this block up here, which allows the redstone to go through it and get sent back. We'll go back to the first cell, So that's going to be the first one to get sent back. Okay, so the game's paused for the time being. Now, as soon as we load this area for this XP to be sent back, the rest of this XP is going to drop to the bottom of this, of the cells. So, it's just gonna, it's visual, but it's gonna look like it's raining XP. So if we watch that from, right here is good. You'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah. So yeah, that's just visual. The only one that actually went through the system was the one on the end, all the way to the right. And now we're gonna keep sending them. Good, and now I'll go to the back and show you what the pistons in the back look like. I don't know which one I'm on though. Okay, these. So, these two pistons in front of me will get triggered, and they'll lead to this one getting triggered, which will push it in the water stream. So that's pretty much it. I know I explained it extremely poorly, but I pretty much just wanted to show everybody this design, and then I'll give you the world download so you can mess with it and do with it what you want. Yep, so that's pretty much it for my storage system. If you want me to show you how to build it, I guess I could do that. I'll give you the world download like I said, but maybe some people want a tutorial. Just comment or whatever. And yep, thanks for watching.